Stay till the end of this video, because only then will you truly understand the full story, one that moves from glittering Hollywood lights to chilling shadows no one dared to speak of. Hollywood's golden age dazzled the world, but behind the perfect smiles and blockbuster roles were secrets that twisted the very meaning of fame. The icons we worshipped as legends carried truths so dark that even today, decades later, they send shivers down the spine. Burt Lancaster, adored as a screen titan, stunned critics with masterpieces like From Here to Eternity and Birdman of Alcatraz. Yet when his body was opened in an autopsy room in Los Angeles in 1994, the glamorous image shattered. His heart revealed layer upon layer of scar tissue, silent evidence of countless strokes that he had endured while still performing with fiery strength. The audience never knew, but his body carried collapse after collapse. It painted a chilling portrait of a man who gave everything to the screen, while silently breaking inside. Then came Kirk Douglas, another immortal name chained to whispers. When Gene Spangler vanished mysteriously, both the Los Angeles Examiner and Variety hinted at his presence near the scene. Nothing was ever proven, but suspicion followed him like a curse throughout his career. Added to that were endless stories of womanizing and cruelty, lavish parties with young starlets discarded like props, sets where actresses begged for rest only to be humiliated further, and careers destroyed for refusing his invitations. On screen, he was Spartacus, the noble hero. Off-screen, he carried shadows of desire and dominance that would haunt his legacy forever. End to end, the line between hero and villain blurred, leaving us wondering, were these legends truly idols, or were they demons cloaked in stardom? As the spotlight shifted, another American icon revealed a double life that shocked fans. Lucille Ball, the queen of sitcoms. In 1951, when I Love Lucy premiered on CBS, America was instantly enchanted. Her laughter, charm, and boundless energy made her the nation's sweetheart, and even decades later the series remains a monument of television history. But while the world adored Lucy, those who worked behind the scenes encountered someone entirely different. An ice queen whose arrogance and cruelty became the stuff of whispered nightmares. On set, the smallest errors ignited explosions. A lighting technician recalled how, when a spotlight was slightly off, Lucille hurled a steaming cup of coffee onto the desk, nearly hitting someone nearby. On another day, a young assistant accidentally dropped scripts. She coldly picked them up, smashed them into his face, and berated him before the silent crew. Journalists soon exposed these tales, stunning the public who only knew her sparkling smile. Her coldness wasn't confined to the studio. In her own home, family dinners ended with dishes shattering across the room. Her husband, Desi Arnaz, often fled the house to escape her sudden rages. Even her children lived in fear, warned never to look at her without permission. A maid later confessed that life in her mansion felt like a stage performance where Lucille was the only star and everyone else played silent extras. Even strangers felt her disdain. On a flight from New York to Los Angeles, she refused to speak directly to flight attendants, gesturing instead for her assistant to relay every word. That story spread quickly, and the nation realized the gap between Lucy, the immortal smile, and Lucille, the merciless ice queen. From sitcom royalty, the story shifts to another fallen star, Mickey Rooney. In the 1930s and 1940s, Rooney was celebrated as MGM's national treasure. With his mischievous grin and natural acting, he became the child prodigy every American adored. But the bright spark of his youth soon collapsed into darkness. As an adult, Rooney transformed from a symbol of innocence into Hollywood's embodiment of debauchery and decay. His love life was a public spectacle. He walked through 8 marriages, including one with Ava Gardner, one of the most dazzling women of her era. Gardner later admitted he treated women as nothing more than disposable entertainment. Variety mocked him with the cutting headline, "Mickey Rooney changes wives like shirts." Behind these marriages lay a trail of broken hearts and careers destroyed. Young actresses who dreamed of Hollywood stardom often found themselves trapped in his games. Stories of the casting couch swirled around him for years, whispered but never confronted. Betty Kelly, an aspiring actress, revealed she was promised a role, only to be cornered privately by Rooney with conditions attached. Studios buried the stories, but within Hollywood, it was an open secret. Rooney flaunted his depravity without shame. At a lavish Beverly Hills hotel party, he raised his glass and boasted, "I've slept with more women than roles I've ever played." The room froze, but Variety wasted no time branding him Hollywood's lost clown. His words exposed a man who saw people as toys and women as trophies. Even in private, his cruelty knew no bounds. He gambled fortunes away, leaving his family in debt. One stepchild confessed their childhood was filled with nights of screaming, broken furniture, and drunken rage. From beloved prodigy to cautionary tale, Rooney embodied Hollywood's darkest transformation. The fall of Mickey Rooney served as a grim reminder that Hollywood's golden glow often hid shadows. But the stories did not end there. Another revelation came through Robert Redford's accounts, reminding the world that behind fame lay manipulation, cruelty, and secrets too dark to ignore. Redford's testimony made it clear Hollywood was never just a dream factory. It was also a battlefield where egos clashed and humanity often crumbled under the weight of stardom. Consider Kirk Douglas, once the heroic face of classics like Spartacus. To millions, he was the symbol of strength and nobility. Yet his image was scarred by disturbing allegations. In 2018, Natalie Wood's sister revealed in her memoir that Douglas had abused Natalie when she was still too young, a shocking accusation that spread like wildfire. Though Douglas had passed away by then, his legacy became permanently entangled with this stain. Earlier whispers had already linked him to actress Jean Spangler's mysterious disappearance in 1949. A half-written note found in her handbag hinted at meeting someone named Kirk. No evidence ever proved his involvement, but suspicion haunted him throughout his career. Beyond scandals, Douglas was infamous for his womanizing. Hollywood insiders joked he would win an Oscar if seduction were a category. Parties saw him arrive with young starlets, only to discard them later. On set, actresses complained of being forced into repeated intimate scenes, their pleas ignored. Colleagues accused him of humiliating women just to assert power. To some, he was Spartacus, the liberator. To others, he was a tyrant hiding behind charm. Douglas lived to 103, celebrated for his cinematic contributions. Yet his memory remains a paradox, a hero on screen, a man of troubling shadows off it. Lucille Ball, the beloved face of I Love Lucy, brought laughter to millions across America. Her sitcom was pure joy, a cultural monument that stood the test of time. Yet behind the scenes, she was remembered very differently. Colleagues called her the Ice Queen. On set, even the smallest errors could spark her fury. One technician recalled her throwing a cup of hot coffee over a misplaced spotlight. Another time, she hurled scripts into a young assistant's face after he dropped them. Stories like these shocked journalists, who exposed the chilling divide between Lucy's warm screen image and Lucille's cold reality. At home, her family felt the same fear. Her husband and children often endured violent outbursts that turned dinners into nightmares. Even in public, she treated people with disdain, refusing to speak directly to service staff, always using assistants to speak for her. Mickey Rooney's downfall echoed the same theme. Hollywood's brightest lights often concealed its darkest shadows. Once hailed as a child prodigy, Rooney grew into a man infamous for debauchery. He went through 8 marriages, treated women as disposable, and flaunted his excesses. Parties turned into humiliating spectacles where he bragged about conquests, while whispers of casting couch abuse circled his name. To his family, he was no hero either, but a man who squandered fortunes on gambling, leaving behind chaos and scars. Robert Redford later revealed these stories to remind the world that Hollywood's golden age was never only about glamour. It was also about manipulation, cruelty, and tragedies hidden behind the spotlight. The idols worshipped by millions were not always the legends they seemed. Instead, they were men and women carrying secrets so dark that even today, they shake our faith in stardom itself.